Hey everyone, Ricky here. I just finished recording a 3-part video series about how to break free from your false beliefs and raise your consciousness and expand to infinite possibilities. I talked about my client Anna, who tried to have a baby for 3 years unsuccessfully and then was able to finally have a baby after just shifting a few things in her subconscious mind. I talked about my client Tom, who went from one uninspiring corporate job after another to finally breaking free from the corporate rat race and landing his ultimate dream job. And I talked about my client Jennifer, who after just a 15-minute conversation together, she was finally able to be in the same room as her mother without being triggered. And so I just wanted to share one of the concepts I shared in this 3-part video series, and then I'll share how you can get access to it if you're interested. So what you have here is the 5 stages of self-ascension. So I've learned that in order to go from living life as my lower self, which is my false identity, it's the self that causes me to self-sabotage. It's the version of me that holds me back from living my dreams. It's the version of me that people pleases, that gives in to addictions. It's the version of me that's living a life that's not authentic to me. How to go from my lower self to my higher self is, I have to go through this process of ascension. I have to go through this process of transcending my false belief patterns. I have to go through the process of healing my subconscious mind, or healing my ego. And so this is the basic process of how that works. I want to share it with you just briefly here. So what I learned is there are really 5 stages that we all go through when we're moving from the lower self to the higher self, or when we're moving from unity to duality. We all go through these stages, and you're in one of these stages now. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you'll be able to find which stage that you're actually in. So there are 5 stages, and the first stage is the awakening stage. This is the stage where we've hit rock bottom in our life. So if you went through some kind of spiritual awakening in your life, or you just hit an absolute rock bottom and you finally said, that's it, that's enough, I'm changing my life, this is your awakening stage. My brother once said, sometimes God lets you hit rock bottom so you know that God is the rock at the bottom. That was what happened for me. My awakening stage started with me being on my hands and my knees in my shower, crying, begging for a miracle. Maybe yours looked a little different, maybe it looked a lot the same. The awakening stage is where I finally had enough. I'm finally taking responsibility for my suffering. I'm no longer blaming everyone else. I'm no longer playing a victim in my life. I'm ready to change, and I'm willing to do what it takes. So the awakening stage is where I'm really starting to get my will to live. It's where I'm getting my will to bust through my limitations, to bust through my obstacles. As I move through the awakening stage, I slowly start moving up. This is like the hero's journey right here. This is the path that we all go through as we're becoming our true higher self. So I move up and I get to this stage called the awareness stage. The awareness stage for me was when I first watched the movie The Secret, the one about the law of attraction. It's when I started first learning about energy and quantum mechanics. It's when I started learning about energy healing and behavioral psychology and how my beliefs create my reality, how thoughts become things. If you've just started this path, and you're probably on this stage right here, it's when you just started learning about these ideas. You just start learning how you can use them to change your life and how you can use them to transform your reality. In this stage, I'm really learning about how reality works, and I'm learning about how I can change it. The next stage, as I move across here, oh, a little bug on me here. One of the joys of living in Mexico. As I move across the journey, I move to the acceptance stage. So this is the stage where I'm actually beginning to process the beliefs. You see, here I learned that my beliefs create my reality, but I don't quite understand how to change my beliefs. In the acceptance stage, I'm learning that I have to process my unhealed pain. I have to process my unhealed trauma from my highly stimulating events or traumas that created the beliefs in the first place. I have to start facing my darkness. I have to start looking into the dark parts of myself so that I can heal it once and for all. Now, most people never actually get out of this stage. They stay stuck in this stage literally forever. They don't make it past this stage. They don't make it up to their higher self. They don't want to face the dark parts of themselves. They don't want to face the pain. They don't want to do the compassionate forgiveness work where they forgive themselves and others. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they don't know how. They don't know how they can actually get through this process, because it was really challenging for me to do it by myself. I had to find mentors and guides and healers and coaches to help me with it. The acceptance stage is where we start to develop compassion for ourselves. It's where we start to accept ourselves for who we are as we are, and we don't give in to the belief that we need to be somewhere other than we are. We start to accept our process in life. So this is a painful process. It's where we're actually facing this unhealed pain. We're facing the darker parts of ourselves. As we start to move through the acceptance stage, we move down to the alignment stage. This is where we're finally putting our money where our mouth is. It's where we're starting to actually take action in our life and shift our habits and our behaviors to align with the life that we desire. It's where we're healing our addictions. It's where we're detoxifying our body. It's where we're creating a life doing what we love instead of trading our time and for money. It's where we stop living a life that's uninspiring and unfulfilling. We start shifting our life and aligning it with our true higher self, with the true authentic self that exists inside of us. The alignment stage is humbling. It's very challenging. It's a challenging stage for anyone to get through. But if we do get through that stage, if we do the work that we're meant to do, if we start to realign our lives, we can slowly start to move up to the Ascension Stage, where we live a place of total unconditional love and happiness. It's where we raise to the frequency of our higher self. We raise from the frequency of duality to the frequency of unity, to the awareness that we are one with everything. And when we reach that state, everything begins to change. Our whole world changes, our relationships with our family change, our relationships with ourselves change. We start to learn how to create massive change in our life without having to trade all of our time. We start creating massive experiences of joy and happiness and contentment and fulfillment that we never imagined possible. Going through this process can allow you to become the first person in your family to break free from addiction. It can allow you to be the first person in your family to travel the world. It can allow you to be in a room with your whole family during the holidays without getting triggered by anyone. It can allow you to quiet your mind and stop being overwhelmed by your negative thoughts. It can allow you to develop the practices and the mindset to not slip back to your lower self when you hit a challenging situation in life. It's a completely life-changing process, and I think it's important that everyone understands it. And so for that reason, I'm going to give the whole video series away. All you have to do is check out the link in the description. It's for my program, The Pilgrimage, which is reopening on April 15th. Now, you don't have to buy anything to get access to this video series, but I'm only sending it out to people who are on the waiting list. So The Pilgrimage is a 7-week Become Your Higher Self accelerator for conscious coaches, leaders, and healers. I'm sending this video series out to them because they've been waiting a long time to learn about this process and learn about how this works. So you don't have to buy anything to get access to this video series. In fact, you can sign up to the waiting list, you can get the video series, and then you can unsubscribe right afterwards if you want to. That's totally fine, but I'm only sharing this video series with those people. So if you want to get the full series, the full Higher Self Formula Part 1 and Part 2, this is Part 2, or a little snippet of Part 2. If you want to get access to Part 1 and Part 2, as well as all of the benefits of going through this work for yourself, then sign up in that link in the description below, and I'll send you the video series starting next week. The video series, actually, I think the first video actually goes out this Wednesday, so you'll get access to it this Wednesday, and then I'll slowly share the whole video series with you. I don't want to give it to you all at once because it's a lot of information, but it's gonna help you start changing your life. Just understanding that it's possible to get there is life-changing in itself. So if you want to learn more, check out the video, the link in this description. And if not, then you've had enough and you have all you need. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks for doing this work on yourself. I want to honor and acknowledge you and congratulate you for having the courage to do this work on yourself. It's not easy, and it takes courage. So thanks for doing the work. Thanks for being who you are, and I hope to see you soon.